we have known each other for how long now?
So I think since 2015.
Properly.
And remember, we met at Jones on 3rd in LA.
How could I forget?
What
My
were you
favorite-
guys doing there?
The best place for all first dates.
What were we doing there? We were doing selling into all of our new stores, trying to break into the US market.
And I think we were living in LA at the time. Is that when we were living in LA?
We
for
were,
a few
and I
months?
actually remember, I'm going to be totally transparent with you guys here. We have never told you this before, but we couldn't figure out if you guys were together or not. And we were like, afterwards, we were like, are they? Aren't they? It's really confusing.
Well, and
we're not
also-
sure.
And like you'd say like my partner or whatever, and it's like, do they mean business partners? Do they mean life partners?
So you are life and business partners in
Yeah.
paired.
So we
And
actually
parents.
haven't known up until this point. We've just we've
No,
never
we are
asked.
When you had a
we
baby,
are
it got
wed
real
in marriage.
weird.
We are wed in marriage.
We've been married for 3 years.
Yes. So when we met you, you weren't married.
No.
though. Yeah. Okay.
We weren't even engaged, I don't think.
How long had you been together? Or how long have you been together, like pre-marriage?
We'll be together for 10 years next October.
Oh my
A
god!
whole decade together.
Oh my God, that's great. How did you guys meet?
We met at work. I was in the warehouse at Subi Jeans, famous Australian company, and Sam was the assistant eyewear designer. Both of our first jobs out of university.
So cute.
Yeah.
Little Ed and little Sammy.
Yeah. And it was a friendship that blossomed into a romance that blossomed into
Along
a
the
marriage.
Bondi to Bronte.
Yeah. Good times, good memories.
So, well, we were going to say to you, tell us about your work backgrounds. I guess it all intertwines. So take it away. We want to hear the whole story.
So yeah, my background was that I'd studied design at COFA in New South Wales, and I had to do an internship to finish my degree, and Subi was it. And I'd always wanted to do accessories. I wasn't really interested in doing clothing. I wanted to do shoes or bags or jewelry. And so the spot was for an assistant eyewear designer. And I kind of fell into it, but then I really loved it. And I loved, because sunglasses are almost a little bit like jewelry anyway. Like, it's such fine details. It becomes like a really intimate kind of thing that you wear every day. You get really attached to it. So I was there for 5 years, nearly 6 years. And we saw the company go through a lot of changes. And actually, it was Ed. We were together then. And he kind of inspired me to leave and start my own sunglass label, or our own sunglass label, but
Isn't
with
that
my
so,
designs.
Isn't it so crazy that like you do, obviously like your whole career now is built around eyewear, and it was
Yeah.
just because like that was what happened to be available in that internship was in eyewear?
Yeah. It's like I could have gone in. I actually wanted to work in magazines for a long time, be a stylist. So the other option I was looking at was a magazine, but then this kind of fell into place. So life could have gone in a different direction.
Well, you do have incredible style. Like, if I think of the people that I know in my life, like, you definitely come to mind as like this innate sense of style. Every time I see you, I'm like embarrassed because I want to ask you
No.
I want to ask you where every
That's how I feel
item
about
is from.
you too.
So like when I'm buying sunglasses from him, I'm like, if Sammy thinks they're cool, I know they're cool.
Oh, that's really sweet. That's how I feel about you guys. I feel like we have similar styles.
A bit of fun with our
Yeah.
fashion. And what about you, Ed? Where did you start?
Well, yeah, I'm definitely like the opposite to Samantha from a sort of left brain, right brain perspective. So I have zero creative talent inside my bones, but I came from like more of a maths, physics, analytical side, particularly at school, and I studied economics at Melbourne University, and I thought I was going to go work for the Reserve Bank. And then I got this job at a retail job in Melbourne at Subi Jeans when I was at university, and that sort of set me off on this sort of trajectory in fashion. Going back one step, I had also studied Japanese at Melbourne Uni.
Cool.
And had gone to Japan like on a gap year and worked for a distribution company that was coincidentally the Subi distribution company. So that sort of all came together, and so when I came back and graduated, it just sort of felt like a natural progression to go and work for them at head office. I mean, I think I was sort of maybe slightly overqualified for the job that I took on, which was like a kind of junior inventory role in their warehouse, which was actually right up my alley in terms of like numbers and stock taking and all those things that I actually was quite drawn to, but in a fashion business. And so that was really fun. I really enjoyed that, and obviously met Sam there, and that was like, you know, pre-GFC, everyone was optimistic and the world was our oyster. And then obviously like the whole sort of fashion industry / global economy got hit by the GFC, and that sort of threw us all into disarray. I actually got made redundant from Subi and moved on to work for a couple of other brands. But it was during that process that Sam and I were sort of looking for opportunities, and obviously Sam had an insane amount of talent. And so we sort of just thought that it would be a good idea to start something together and just have a go of it, more like a side hustle than a full-time career. And, you know, I then did some consulting for other brands. And then, you know, it was about 3 years into Paired when I was able to leave my full-time job and come and work full-time, which was, you know, a big milestone for me. And yeah, that's sort of 4 years ago now.
I also think it's super interesting that you said initially, like, you know, I'm not the creative one, Sam's the creative one, because I feel like that's also just like such a misconception of what creativity is. Because when I think of you, like, you are a creative thinker, like you're a marketer, you think outside the box. To run your own business, you do have creative elements, and I when you said that, I thought of me and Stephanie, where like people would refer to me as the creative one because I'm creative in the same way that Sam is the traditional, you know,
Doing
with
the
my
design.
hands create actual things. But it's actually like you are creative thinkers, just in a different way.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
true.
I was going to say when I'm speaking again, you're extremely creative, and like to come and also like enthusiastic too. Like we can be enthusiastic about design and new materials and new colors and things, but I feel like with your job, Ed, you need to be like every day waking up and being motivated to like drive the business and think of new ways to, you know, target our customers. And, you know, when times are tough or we have to, you know, you have to think outside the box, otherwise you won't survive.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like being an entrepreneur is definitely, there's a lot of creativity in it as well.
And so you guys kind of went out on your own and you decided to start Paired. Was it called Paired then?
Yes.
And so what did that kind of look like? Was it just the two of you in it?
Yeah, it was just the two of us in a kitchen table in Bellevue Hill in Sydney with like some little, I get everything laser cut before I go to sample. It's like one of my processes. We were sitting around the kitchen table with all the laser cuts, looking at, you know, working out how many styles we could afford to produce and, you know, how the range would look. And it was just Ed and me.
Yeah, I mean, it was as organic as it can really be. You know, I think it was a little bit of blind optimism. We have had
We
some,
all need that.
A lot of
I think we've had some, you know, not to be naive, that we've had some really great mentors, like from a friendship perspective. A couple of friends a little bit older, also my brother who's 3 years older, one of my great friends, Paulie, who's been in business, who's a bit older and wiser in that field, definitely sort of helped us take that leap of faith, because sometimes people say, look, maybe not a good idea, the risk is too high, you know.
People always say that.
There's a lot of that going on, particularly I think, you know, post-GFC, you know, more so than perhaps now. It is a little bit easier maybe to kickstart something. But I think that was instrumental, and I think, you know, speaking on behalf of Sam, I think she knew she had the talent, but we really needed like some momentum from a guidance perspective to kickstart that into gear and, you know, do a business plan and you know, go out, you know, get a little bit of money invested into the business, try and get a few business loans, etc. All those things are important for the beginning. But, you know, we had a very slow start, honestly, for the first 3 years. You know, we didn't, you know, there was Sam on creative, I was working in another company, and sort of e-commerce hadn't started. So, you know, the only way to get in the door was to arrive with a sample kit and try and take a meeting, which was...
So you were selling into stores?
Selling into stores.
And what year was that you started?
We released the first collection at the beginning of 2013. So like the end of summer 2013, which wasn't ideal.
And so like at
And
that...
no Instagram. No Instagram.
Oh
It was
yeah,
still
no one
like
on Instagram then really.
PR was still like you wanted a PR showroom because you need your sample sent out.
Yeah.
You know, like it was such a different world. It's really evolved since then.
And so, like, at that point, you know, when I think of Paired, you guys aesthetically have such like a signature style, you know, I think quite cat eye-ish almost, like, is what I think of. Were the styles then when you started the same, that similar vibe?
First style that I designed was called the Puss in Boots.
Oh, I love Puss in Boots.
Yeah, with the deco corners. That's what I call it.
they're
The
so
little
cool.
like cut out corners. That's still in the collection.
So that's a cat eye.
That's a cat eye. I think definitely our collection is, we have probably 70 to 80% is women's, and then we have some unisex styles too. But I do think that I'm definitely more of a feminine designer in that respect. So there's always a cat eye on the range. It's my favorite shape.
Me too. It looks good on everyone.
Yeah.
So then how do you where do you get your inspiration from when you're designing a new collection?
Well, usually I frame it in like a time and a place. That's how I always kind of started. So the first collection was like really inspired by Art Deco architecture, which I know you guys love. We come
do
back to that
love.
when we talk about our frames. So we were living in our Art Deco apartment in Bellevue Hill, and then we had all these really beautiful like ceiling details and like little brick cutouts, and I think that really inspired me. And then so from then, you know, I've done a collection that was like 1960s Morocco. I've done one that's like 80s Caribbean. So if I kind of look at those times and that place, it kind of informs like the shapes, like the eyewear shapes, because each decade has a really distinctive eyewear shape. And then the place, you know, kind of inspires the colors and that maybe the architecture, or I don't know, the traditional dress of that country, or, you know, there's lots of different things that inspire me, but I get inspiration from everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's like such an interesting part of the design process that like I never really knew that like I was supposed to be doing in the beginning. Like,
Well,
that-
because you never went to like design school or anything like that. So you were just
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to create something cool. What do I want it to look like? You
yeah,
didn't
and like
think
what
about
are
that.
the colors going to be? But like, yeah, once someone Kath Wills, our amazing mentor from Soundspace, once she kind of like explained it to us, it became so obvious. And hearing you talk about it, it's like, oh, of course you would pick a time and a place, or, you know, whatever it might be, to kind of create almost like a story out of,
Yeah.
rather than just a piece of, you know, whatever it is.
Well, because that's what gives the product like this heart and soul behind it, and makes people have that connection with it, as if there's something behind it rather than just ending up with like a soulless product.
Totally.
So how did you guys go about finding your first factories?
I had connections from working in eyewear already. I didn't use any of the factories that I'd worked with before, but I had connections with other factories. So I kind of, for me, that wasn't really the scary part, because I'd kind of worked for so long in eyewear and I kind of knew the process, and that was kind of the easy part. For me, the scary part, I think, was like going and selling it to everyone.
Well, and I guess like that's where having had experience in the space comes in such handy.
Yeah.
You know, like you can dive in, but sometimes you really need to have like a little bit of background knowledge in order to go forward with something.
Yeah, otherwise it can feel more daunting, and I guess you have to experiment more, and maybe you'll make a few more mistakes. So that we were lucky. I mean, we've still made lots of mistakes. We've learned a lot, but that from the manufacturing side, because eyewear is quite specific to specific factories and, you know, details and things, and you have to like, you know, draw up a spec. For me, that was great because I kind of felt confident in that aspect.
And then, so you guys are stocked in, you know, some of the biggest stores in the world, from like David Jones in Australia, Bloomingdale's in the US, which when we were in New York recently, we were so excited to see, you know, a big, huge Paired stand right next to all the name labels. So how did you kind of go about that in the beginning? Like, how did you even find those retailers?
Yeah, look, it was an interesting route, to be honest. As we touched on before, we found it really tough in Australia, almost to the point of almost giving up, to say, look, we think we have amazing product, but something's not working here. We're not penetrating. No one wants to stock us. You know, at the time it was Celine, Sunday Somewhere, and there were some great products around on the shelves, and people at Karen Walker, people didn't have a lot of space to bring in new products. So we sort of shifted, and for whatever reason, we had a contact in America who a lovely lady called Lana who had worked in Australia, and she was consulting out of the US, and she approached me and said, look, I think you guys should go in a change of direction. People are really looking for Australian product in the US. It's on a bit of a buzz right now. I think what you guys are doing is amazing. Why don't you come over here and do some trade shows? So that sort of flipped our perspective, and I look back on an email that we had been speaking about during that period in 2015 to say, oh, we don't know if we're going to do it. It feels like a big investment. Are you sure? Can you guarantee that we're going to get any orders? And of course, nothing is guaranteed. But sure enough, we got on the plane and we went to Miami in 2015 for Miami Swim Week. It's a trade show called Cabana, which has been sort of instrumental in the growth of our brand in the US. It's kind of the coolest resort show, very hard to get into, very selective, et cetera, et cetera. And the rest is kind of history. Like we had some success there. We maybe got 10 or 15 orders straight out of the gate, which was like more than we had in Australia in 2 years.
Well, yeah, and that's a huge amount. Like we've sat at trade shows for an entire weekend and not gotten anything.
Zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that gave us confidence.
It gave us confidence. Yeah, and look, we've done trade shows too that don't work. So I mean, that not all of them work, but that was a good one, and we were very fortunate to land that. We actually did a collaboration for that first trade show. So we did an agreement with Cabana where we created a custom frame, which has kind of been part of our success throughout the past 4 or 5 years, where we say, look, we can't come at it from a financial perspective and have the biggest booth or the biggest brand, but we are very good at product. So let us put the time and the energy into creating some product that you can give to your top 200, 300 buyers, everyone from Net-a-Porter to Nordstrom, etc., the swim buyers from Revolve. They all received a custom pair of Cabana Times Paired sunglasses. And obviously they then had some interest to come and see who Paired was. They came to our booth and we were very lucky that strategy came together. We've since done 3 collaborations with that swim show. We now collab with trade shows, we collab with brands, we collab with media influencers, etc. A hybrid with you guys who obviously have your own brand, but then also have your own media personality as well. So it's like this great hybrid where we are very proud of the product we can create, and so we kind of leverage that to penetrate a market that perhaps was very hard to penetrate financially.
Yeah.
That's such a clever way to play to your strengths as well. Like I'm just thinking about it, but like when we approach someone like a Cabana or a trade show or whatever, we aren't like our product first, but we're great at creating a splash, so like give us a booth and we will create like a song and dance and so much promo and we'll make it look fucking amazing and all the stuff. So that's so cool to hear it from another perspective. So I guess it's like it doesn't really matter what your strength is. I'm sure someone could kind of find a way that they can add value when they're not the biggest brand ever.
Yeah, and you guys are amazing at that. I've been to your pop-ups and you guys do that better than anyone I've seen globally.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
That's a unique strength that I think a lot of people don't do. We don't do it that well, to be honest.
I don't know. Your one in Westfield looks amazing.
Yeah, it does look very cute. Doesn't
It looks gorgeous.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
It's like
terrazzo print.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, cool. But also, like, I think, you said that, like, your strength has always been your product. And I definitely think that as a product brand, for us, product didn't come naturally to us. And so for the first few years, that was really why tubes were really hard to sell in the very beginning for us. And now over time and with great mentoring, we've gotten the product to this place. Whereas, with Paired, I do really think that there's just something in having your product speak for itself the way it does with Paired, because you look at them and you're like, they're so unique, they're so easy to sell versus trying to sell a product that,
like the good brand is like just the sprinkling on the cake. Like it's not, the cake is your product. The product is freaking fabulous.
Mm-hmm.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, I hand on my heart, we are so proud of the product, and I think it's easy for me to speak about that maybe from a slightly third person perspective on Sam's behalf, but we truly feel like from a product perspective we can compete on the global stage against any brand in the world. Like you put us next to Celine, we feel just as good. The product is just as good. The quality is just as good.
Yeah,
It's
and the
just
fit.
you're dealing against a marketing
and they're
machine.
so comfy.
They're so damn comfy.
They're actually my
They're
most
the comfiest
comfortable
sunglasses I've ever owned.
Yeah.
All different pairs as well. Like I feel like the comfiness is across all the styles, which I imagine would be really hard to do since they all are very different shapes.
It's just the fit, I think. You have to make sure that they fit properly, that the acetate's not too heavy, that the nose bridge is wide enough. And, you know, that's
Exactly.
just experience and, like, honing things over years. And, like, sometimes I've done things where it's been a total flop and you're just like, okay, we'll never do that again.
Yeah.
But then, you know, it's just like you're constantly evolving the product. This is probably just a creative person's insecurity, but like I'm never satisfied. So I'm like, okay, next range will be better. Next range will be better. What can we do to improve it? You know?
well,
have to
but there you
always
go.
be-
You're still selling your very first thing that you designed. Like that's pretty
Yeah,
awesome.
that is my very favorite pair.
Yeah, we went through a bit of a review. We had someone come into the business and say, look, you guys have got to let go of some of these styles from 2012. And there was this huge uproar
From
in the
you, not
team.
from me, really.
And we're like, no, we can't let go of this style. We've had it for so long. And they said,
was
well,
nostalgic.
you have to evolve. And if you bring in 3 new styles, you need to let go of 2 or 3 styles. And it was very hard. You know, those styles had been in the business for 5-6 years. When we first started, we were like, we are going to be that brand that keeps it forever. You know, that it's nothing worse than when you go online, you try and find that black pair of sunglasses that you had and they've discontinued it. We're like, we will never be that brand. So we put some styles on ice for the time being so we can afford to bring in some newness because we have so much newness we want to bring in. And our range got to like 250 SKUs at some point and we were like, okay, we can't even fit everything in a trade show booth. We've got to like let some things go here. So we've sort of gotten better at that. But like, yeah, the Puss in Boots was the first, bread and butter, bigger and better. There's some very iconic styles that we've had and they're a little bit more male centric. But yeah, I mean, it's truly amazing to see the progression of product and how it changes. And we have become a little bit more trend focused because I think that's what the market demands. But from a branding sort of structural perspective, we're still quite clean and minimal. And that's like about paired, as a product is about simplifying it, paring it back. That's kind of our DNA. So we don't do the big splash of branding. As we know with our collab, it's beautiful, but it's minimal and clean. So I think
Product speaks for itself.
that's something we will remain, focused on. But yeah, it's sad to let go of those styles.
And then, so you kind of touched on collaborations there. So you've done the collaboration with Cabana. We've done the How to Live X Paired Sunnies, which I'm so excited about. So you've done these collaborations over the years. What do you feel like they kind of bring to your business?
Well, look, they open up like your brand to an audience that had never seen you got like the product before. That is just in a nutshell what it does. So whether it's like a Beckham Bridge or a P Nation or a How to Live, they're all completely different demographics. And we are in this beautiful sweet spot where we can touch all these great like customer fan bases through our like representing our DNA, but then also sort of partnering and sort of moving slightly left or right or to the front to work with these collab partners. It has always been a challenge because, I think Sam has wanted always to be true to the paired design aesthetic and having our core collection, which is just paired eyewear. But just naturally through sales, demand, and like just amazing opportunities, collabs have been a huge part of our business over the past couple of years. And we've been so thrilled that people have wanted to work with us. We've reached out to them and, vice versa. It truly has just been on an organic level.
And is that like a marketing strategy for you guys?
Yeah, I think it has to be. I mean, we try to, previously we had tried to be goal-based in terms of a collaboration. We still remain, goal-based in terms of, is this an e-com focus? Is it a wholesale play? Is it something we want to tie into a David Jones or a Nordstrom? Is it something that will help us expand in the European market? Is it something for Asia? I think you need to be careful, and that's something we are being more focused on now, is just not trying to do too much and pull ourselves in too many different directions, because then you can lose focus. And so I think now we have clear strategies. Like I think our beautiful collaboration is definitely like an ecom focused collaboration, which is great for both parties. So we have, you have your great ecom store, and then we both have some targeted retailers that we like, and we're like, let's do a pop-up or an activation at one or two of those retailers. But, we then can, as long as both parties are aligned on what they want to, receive from that partnership, then we find that it works really well.
Yeah, and it's such a clever way for like as a small brand to really grow your customer base. Like you said, when you went to the US for the first time, they didn't know you, but pairing with Cabana really gave you this credibility. For us with Tubes, when we did our Gorman collab, that was a couple of years in, and then that really like exploded overnight to this whole new demographic that we hadn't been really tapping into before.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing to do, and it's like I'm so proud that it's a part of our business. Everyone's saying, well, what's the next one? When's it coming? I was like, don't worry, it'll come. It'll find its way, and you seek it out a little bit, but great opportunities come across every brand's plate now and then. I think you just got to align on what each other's goals are, and then it should work well.
Yeah, and like for us, it's like sometimes we'll collab with a brand that's bigger than us, and that will bring like a whole new customer base. And then sometimes we'll collab with a brand, or we're looking to collab with a brand because they can bring like a really unique design aesthetic. So like it's really cool to be able to collaborate with different brands that are able to bring your business different things, and you're able to bring their business different things as well.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily around like who's the biggest.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we did one with Starbucks, which is just crazy.
Oh,
we drink out of them every day.
Yeah, those are literally our drink bottles. Like traveled the world with us now.
They're also excellent. We were saying yesterday, like they hold temperature really
great.
well,
And they're reusable, which I loved. Everything in that collection was meant for like travel and to be reusable, which was amazing.
so good.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those pinch yourself moments where it's sort of quirky and cool and fun, but
That's
when
also
you go to
unexpected too.
we went to the Starbucks head office in Seattle, and
Oh my God, that's crazy.
our biggest
Stop
retailer is
it.
there,
So much
Nordstrom,
coffee.
and you sort
Was
of,
there? Is there a Starbucks at their head
There's
office?
like coffee everywhere. There's like a
There's
big
like
kind
this-
of glamorous one downstairs. It's kind of like a bit like a wine bar too.
yeah, it's like your favorite
huge.
sort of Italian coffee shop.
We've seen a few like that in LA, like maybe like
and
one
New York
or two
as well. Yeah, they've done one like next to Chelsea Markets in New York. They have.
I think
one.
that's the biggest one in the. Was that the newest one? I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
like
biggest one in
very
the world.
fancy
and very
one.
fancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Super
feels like
nice.
Italian coffee
They
roaster.
got they got a little wine spritz bar, and it's super cool. But they collaborate with the biggest brands in the world, and we were lucky to be picked as one of the Australian brands.
Like, how do you land something like that?
Did they find you, or did you find them?
It was through an American partnership that we had. Again, like people know that we're opening to collabing. So we were like, do you want us to make sunglasses? That's what we do. And they said, no, we just want you to create some prints to put on our product. So it was sort of like a reverse collab. We had never done anything like that. But then they were like, oh, then you're going to go into 35 countries throughout Australasia. And we're like, okay, that's fine. So then it was at like
You're like,
Flinders
we can live with
Street. It
that.
was like in Bali when we were in Bali. It was in China. It was in like all these crazy places.
It has to feel natural, I think. With all of our collaborations, it's felt natural and it's felt quite easy.
Yeah, following your
So,
intuition
yeah.
is definitely the way to go.
So then bringing it back to kind of like paired and like brand perception, I guess, we can't not talk about our favorite topic, celebrities, because you have had your sunglasses on some of the biggest celebrities around the world. Tell me if this is correct. I have here Brad Pitt, Beyonce, and Gigi Hadid. Is that right? Oh my goodness. So how
Yeah, like Brad Pitt. Like, come on.
Yeah, like-
Nobody has their stuff on Brad Pitt.
like where even is he?
Yeah, it's weird what people like get excited about. Like,
Well, that's what we get excited about.
there was like Michael Fassbender, who I didn't really know at the time, but we have a business partner out of Europe, and he was like, that was the greatest day of his life. People love Beyonce. Some people love Gigi. Selena Gomez is
I loved
another
Amy
one.
Schumer. Amy Schumer wore the Puss in Boots in white in a magazine.
Oh my God,
I was
remember
excited
that.
about that one.
That was insane.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jess Gomes wore our product the other day. We sent her some sunnies. She got it in 2 days. She wore it. She's a David Jones ambassador. Like, that stuff is super nice. And as well, and it's you do get semi desensitized to it, but it's such a huge part of brand that it's so important.
Well, we've been actually had on our to-do list for a while now to talk to you about this, just for Tubes and for our own brand and our own knowledge. So glad that we're getting to ask about this now. Like, we want to know everything. Like, how do you go about getting them on people? Is it worth it? What do you kind of get out of it as a brand?
Well, it's a double-edged sword. Like, I think it is so important for eyewear as a product, in terms of having product on faces. We have given away a lot of product over the years, and we've worked with some great partners in the US, particularly, I mean, California, LA, particularly Hollywood specifically, is the home of celebrity gifting. So for anyone who doesn't know that, that's where you need to go to find the best stylists, the best agents. But it's, there's a structure, that you have to buy into financially. You have to have the product ready to gift, and it's not a 1 in 10 hit. It's more like a 1 in 100 hit. So I think.
So you're like gifting to people in the US, and then like 1 in 100 you're saying is Selena Gomez. That kind of thing?
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, again, it's this thing, no guarantees. You might give it to them. Like, we had a hit on Beyonce a few months ago that I think we had probably given her the stock maybe 6 to 12 months prior. You just don't know where that little piece of sunglasses is floating around the world. They might have given it to their mate, and then their mate gives it to someone else, and then the someone else is someone who's a big deal. Or it could just directly land in the lap of Amy Schumer and she wears it the next day. You just don't know.
Oh,
So-
that's so fascinating.
So good. So we've tried like reaching out to some celebrity stylists and being like, hey, can we gift you these, or can we send you anything? And it's always like, it feels really cagey, like we're missing something. So do you go and you pay a PR agency to see them with celebrities?
Yeah, you need to have a celebrity agency. So that's something you need to build into your budget. It's a big cost as well, and it needs to be a part of what I see as like a growth strategy. It's probably not something financially you would invest in forever. I think a lot of brands do it as a bit of a kicker, particularly for the US market. It sort of comes hand in hand that if you nail Nordstrom and you launch in Nordstrom, you better make sure that you have some celebrity placement going on simultaneously, otherwise the product won't sell.
Oh, this is interesting for us because we're currently looking at, we're going into a US department store next year.
So that's like, if you go and you meet the retail staff and you say, what is the key to selling my product? They just say celebrity placement. Like,
Wow.
it's not even a...
And that still exists, like in 2019 when there are like
So many other ways.
influencers and Instagram and all that
social
stuff.
media marketing.
Yeah, so I think it's like, you walk in and they see Tubes on their shelf and they say, here's a picture of Gigi wearing Tubes. Bang, sale, converted, done.
Wow.
Happy days.
Okay, and how much are we talking that it costs?
You can tell us on the record or not.
No, you're talking like circa 6,000 US a month plus product.
And then doesn't the Australian government give you like some rebate for investing in the US or something?
Yeah, so there is this great scheme by Austrade called the Export Market Development Grant. There's a couple of ways you can structure it. Speak to your accountant if you'd like to know more. But basically, you get like a 30-40% return on investment of overseas expenditure. So that's trade shows, PR, marketing consultants, flights, per diems, all those things. It's a diminishing rate per year. So the way you time it is, obviously you're a 2-year, 3-year-old brand. You feel you have the product right, you want to launch overseas, you start investing money overseas, and you'll be rebated year on year for that. But it's a diminishing rate, so you get a higher return in year one. It's around 40-45%, and then it goes down 5-10% per year. Great way, great incentive. That sort of tied into our strategy that we thought, okay, well, if we can fund it, then we can get a rebate. So a $6,000 trade show suddenly becomes $3.5-4K.
And it's expensive, but I guess the thing is, if you do have big orders coming in from US department stores, that's kind of the point where you can go, okay, we're going to take some of that money and put it towards this thing.
Correct.
If that's how it grows. What else do you see? Like, if a celebrity posts, is it just that it sells in department stores? Do you see sales on your own online as well?
No, so traditionally that has sort of been the frustrating thing for our business, that We have like had really great retail partnerships through great department stores. We've had really great celebrity placements, but like how do you interconnect that sort of sales strategy? So that's obviously this whole Facebook business model, and like how do you use imagery to retarget and target people by sort of making your brand relevant to that customer. Something we've definitely gotten better at in the past 12 months. You can't just say, we want to target Selena Gomez's followers and then, you'll get a 1% return on that. Like, it's not that easy, sadly. But, the fact that we're talking about Paired and this, celebrity placements, obviously people do ask us about that a lot, that it has this sort of brand DNA attached to it is sort of what I feel has been the strongest part. However, now if you go to our website and you go and click on the Beckham Bridge times Paired, Petit Amour, and it's got 8 to 12 pictures of the biggest celebrities in the world wearing that product, that helps to convert sales.
For sure. And that's really clever that you use Selena Gomez imagery and then you can target people
Correct.
who like Selena Gomez on Facebook. That's amazing.
Oh, that's really clever.
Yeah, I love that.
And
also, you just get to be excited that your stuff's on celebrities.
Oh my
That's
God.
so
I would
fucking cool.
I'm still waiting for the day I would die.
Yeah, like Beyonce in tubes. Like, come
I
on, you
know.
guys.
It will come.
Sam,
It will come.
You designed something that Beyonce wore. Like, that
Yeah.
is so
That's
cool.
The last one we had, I was excited about because I just randomly came across it on Instagram. I was searching for something, and they have like those Instagram accounts that start like it's like Beyonce's closet. So someone will go and research her whole outfit and then post about it.
Yeah.
and that's how I found out about it.
Oh, that's amazing.
that's so
Oh,
cool.
because you don't even get like sent to
You don't
by
really,
the
no,
agency.
you don't get alerts or anything.
Oh.
But
It
I
is-
get really excited when I see people wearing it in the street.
Oh,
Yeah.
That for me
the
is
best.
like super exciting.
Well, that
Someone's
must happen to
parted
you
with
all
their
the
money and they're like,
time.
I really like this brand. I'll choose this over something else.
Yeah.
We were sitting next to someone in a cafe the other day.
And do you ever say like, I designed those?
Yeah, we do. Ed always
like-
was like, "Hi, where'd you get your sunglasses from?"
I
Just
love-
curious. We're from Paired.
Yeah, we exchange emails.
We are paired.
No, that's cool. We love that. And I mean, look, things are different. Things are important to different people. The celebrity stuff is cool. Like landing a big retailer is amazing. It's like very empowering for the journey. Our team like the celebrity stuff, so that's fun that they get excited about that. My mum got excited when we started stocking at the National Gallery of Victoria, so that
Oh my
was like a
God.
bit of a win.
That's
I think I got
cute.
excited when you started stocking at the NGV
My
store.
dad gets excited when we're in the Age newspaper in the business section. Everyone has their own little sort of joy.
Yeah.
Someone's going to be real excited about How to Live the podcast.
Yeah. No,
One
totally.
person.
Everyone will be
I've got
excited.
some friends who are diehard Qantas travelers,
excellent.
so they'll be listening up front.
So you touched on your team there, and something we actually did want to chat to you guys about was your team, because you have like this fantastic little team of five, right?
Yeah.
5 full-timers. And I think
one
that-
of them is your sister, Sam, which is
Yeah.
awesome. We love that.
Keeping in the
obviously.
family.
Yeah.
Husband,
We
sister.
just had her 5-year anniversary working for us, considering we've only been going 7 years.
Oh my
Ah,
god!
congrats.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what we were talking about. Is that like you have such a fun dynamic in your team? Like, we've gone out with you guys, and everyone's just like,
Everyone's like full proper mates. Like I was looking at, I think it was Mimi's Instagram on the weekend or something, and like she's posting photos, and Jenny and Tyler
Yeah.
and like her photos, like they're fully besties.
We're a little family.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
We
so
try and make it
nice.
like that because, it's small business and it can be tough, but we always try and keep the team a positive, and it's, we always try and do things together and, create a nice culture because, it should be fun. Like it's fashion and it's fun. So we should try and, create a good energy. But we're so lucky because our team is amazing. We've got 2 great girls in the US too that work for us. But yeah, we are small. We get a lot achieved for a small team.
Oh, totally.
And
I
I-
think I was very surprised when I first found out how small your team was, considering like the brand Paired seems like ginormous.
Well, and I think that like, when we were starting out hiring people at first, we were like, we want to have this giant team because you kind of see that as a success. But now we're a team of, 4 full-time, but then 5 or 6. And there is really something in that. And when you can
Now I'm like, I want to keep it small.
Yeah,
exactly.
More people, please.
that having that like kind of family-ish dynamic,
Yeah.
but also like how much you can really achieve with that small amount of people feels really great. And I feel like your team are really hard workers. Like, you know, they're always traveling and they're, you know, really quick to respond to things. And obviously we've been working with you guys and really been able to see that up close. How do you kind of keep them motivated, or is it that you hire the right kind of people?
I mean, it has to be the right people. We famously have, 2 of our team members have moved from Sydney, ex-IMG.
Yeah, you guys are poachers.
IMG famously recruit these great staff. They put them on a contract for Fashion Week, which is a sort of 3-month contract. So after that, 2 of our team members have come from IMG, which we're very fortunate. The other one was Sam's sister, so that, you know, we lucked out
I
there.
didn't have to travel far to find her.
Yeah,
And then
I
there's
mean,
Sebastian,
you
our
can't-
baby. He'll be trained to take
Yeah.
over the family
Orders.
business.
you have to know, and look, everyone is so different, even the most amazing staff. And, you know, we work hard and we're founder led, but, you know, we're still learning on our journey. So it has to be about team. Otherwise, you know, that's very cliche, but otherwise you won't get the outcome that you need. And that's definitely something that we've been working hard on. You know, again, about culture and making it fun, and perhaps we're like, maybe we have too much fun. Maybe we should.
We also think that sometimes.
Maybe we should pare it back and, you know, make everyone slog it out a bit harder. But
That's what it's about though, right? Like
Yeah.
it's about a lifestyle as well. Like it
has to be.
We want to have fun. So we want our team to have fun. Like we don't want to be sitting here all serious and
Yeah.
keeping our heads down at all times. Like, and I think that's when everyone does their best work as well, is when they really, you know, like your team loves Paired and they want to be a part of it and they believe in it.
yeah, it's hard. And look, it's also like some of our younger team members, this is their first job, and, you know, they'll go on to do great things, whether they have their own company or work for other organizations. So you have to be realistic that this is like, it's different for us than it is for them. Like, this is our lives, you know, it's our livelihoods. It's, you know, we put our whole destiny in this company, and it's something we're very passionate about. You know, you hope that if your team can have 80% of that, then you're doing pretty well, because at the end of the day, they need to be able to shut their laptop down, go home and have some kind of personal life. You know, that's something that I've struggled with sort of in bringing on new team members, that I would just expect that they're as passionate as I am, but they are passionate, but they also just need to do it between certain work hours. You know, I work 24/7. I work multiple time zones. That's something that I sort of have become used to, and then I can break it up during the day, you know, go to the gym during the day, or maybe take my son Sebastian and do something. And, you know, that's something that we've built into our flexibility in our lifestyle, and that's something we're very happy with as parents now. We're you know, we were both very proud the other day when we could both go to the kindy and take them all the kids to library day, and everyone was saying,
my God.
we've never had both parents here. This has just never been done before. And that's kind of fun for us, that we can take a little chop out and take that time. And I think our team respect that as well. But in saying that, you know, we need to make sure that we're supporting their journey. And I think that that's something we're proud of as well.
Well, and it's, you guys are a very non-conventional family, which is so cool. You know, like I love that story recently, Sam, where like Ed accidentally like got his flight cancelled or whatever. So Ed ended up flying home with Bass, and you just like flew home on your own, and you like had your champagne and your alone time.
That was karma.
Like,
That was karma.
Yeah, but that's amazing that, like, you know, you guys, we never know who we're going to see with Bass, or where, you know, we see you out at parties with him, or sometimes you come here and you're alone and you're like, yeah, no, he's taken care of, you know. Like I really feel like you guys have been able to build this lifestyle for yourselves where like having kids sometimes seems quite scary, and it seems like people will literally say it's ruined our life. Whereas for you guys, he's just kind of slotted right in.
Yeah. We're lucky. He's a flexible child, but he's had to be. Like he's been on more planes than some people have been in their entire life, and he's 18 months old. So we're conscious to try and create some structure for him and for our team, but we also we have to be kind of flexible to live the life that we live and run the company that we run.
And was it a decision that you made when you decided to have a kid? Were you like, okay, this is just going to have to fit into this lifestyle? And
I think I've definitely slowed down a little bit. Like I don't travel as much as I used to. Like I just went away to go to Hong Kong and China for the optical fair and for some work by myself for a week, which was quite amazing. But I haven't really been able to do a lot of that work travel. Ed's kind of taken that on. And we've kind of, we have to kind of tag team in that respect. Like who's going to be with the baby? Okay, you go. Where previously we probably would have both traveled, but I mean, which is fine. It's
there are
it's,
always
you just
some
like you just have
adjustments.
to. We just have to. I think we're both quite good at adapting, and that's kind of small business life too. You have to be. Something's not working. Okay, like let's be quick and adapt and change and try something else. So we've definitely had to adapt our lifestyle a little bit with the baby.
Yeah, well, and also since you've had him, you've kind of like settled in Melbourne, right? Because before, like for the first few years that we knew you, it was like, do they live in Bali? Do they live in Sydney? Do they live in LA? Where are they? But now we're like, we can solidly find you in your Windsor upstairs office.
Yeah, in like the heart of like nightclubs and bars, and it's like not the most grounded place in the world, but it's like Windsor is cool because it's where all my friends are from, and it's like our family's here, so it feels like more grounded than before. I mean, we're contemplating like moving out to the country or maybe the suburbs, but we don't know what we want to do.
Suburb life. I don't see you
No,
do in the
country.
suburbs.
Over our dead body.
I think
but
country.
yeah, I'm not sure what the next few years holds, but yeah, I mean, kids change your life in every which way. So I think that's a reality that we're so blessed. And, we were ready to have a child, but, your business is such a consuming part of your life that...
It was our first baby, really.
Yeah, Paired was number one. But it also gives us this great flexibility that other people don't have. So it's, pros and cons.
Totally.
so how is it being business partners and life partners?
Yeah, like
I
do the
mean,
corals
on the-
come home with you? Or do
As
they
a-
come to
as a
work
whole,
with you?
it's
Either
like-
way.
As a whole, it's amazing. I mean, like anything, life has its challenges. I think people say to us, wow, like I've met people who have a business. I've met people who run a company together, etc. But no one has the multiple amount of layers that we now have in our lives. And I think we do it better than most in terms of like still having a great time, still loving each other's company. We fight like cats and dogs over certain things in the company, but I think that's normal, and we've gotten better at like splitting up our roles, and also getting mentoring on like what your skill sets are, how to communicate better in terms of in a team. And I think your team forces you to sort of be a bit more diplomatic in a lot of ways.
Definitely as well, like forces you to, like Jess and I realized that like we shared so much in our business, and when it's just two of you, you can share so much. And whereas once you've got other people involved, you kind of need to split out your roles a little bit and make things a bit more systematic.
Yeah. I mean, still, I'll say, let's do this, and someone says, Sam told me the completely opposite thing 25 minutes ago, and I said, well, okay, this is
Negotiation.
my decision.
Negotiation start.
So, no, it's good. I mean, you have to step back. You have to appreciate how lucky you are to be able to do this sort of amazing thing with someone you love so much. And, again, like obviously we are business partners and co-founders, but Sam, she's the creative inspiration behind Paired, and I think without her, this company wouldn't be what it is today. So I think that for me is always part of the journey, is just making sure that her vision is fulfilled. And I think obviously we need to run a business and we need to make money to pay staff, etc. But as long as she's still following what she wants to do, then that makes me happy. And I think if I can look Sam in the eye and say, look how amazing it is that you've been able to create this company, and
we,
of course, but
I think
I think if we can't be happy with what we've done, then we shouldn't be doing it today. And I think we are very proud of where the company has come to, and that just makes the journey and sort of doing it with each other sort of more fulfilling.
And I think like what's special as well about having like a relationship like yours in business and also a relationship like ours is that you can see each other as people first and foremost rather than business partners, which I actually think then like allows you to form better decisions in the business because you're valuing each other for actually who you are, not like just 50% of this.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And we all have like good months, good weeks, bad weeks, you know, and I think doing it as a duo is so much better. I don't know how people run a business by themselves and they're in their own heads trying to solve a problem that they can't solve because they're so stressed about it. But just communicating with your business partner and your life partner about these things makes it easy.
Well, you know, you can like pick up when someone's a bit down, you can pick them up and say, it's okay, I'll take this on. Or, you know, when we first started, I was doing everything myself, you know, so designing, sending orders out, trying to sell them to stockists. I couldn't have done that forever. It would have totally driven me mad because, you know, that's, you know, the marketing side and the business side isn't my strong suit. The creativity is. And whilst I understand being, you know, commercial and, you know, selling a product, it's not my strong suit. So having Ed there is, you know, imperative, I think, to the business because it's like the yin and yang, you know?
Yeah. And I
Two
guess,
sides.
and at the end of the day, it's like, you know, why are we doing this? Like, you know, it's not like our parents' generation where they saw life as just like being about working and providing. Like for us, we really want to, you know, enjoy the journey. Like that's why we're running our own businesses because it's fun and we, you know, we don't just want to work hard. We want to
enjoy every day.
Yeah. And so whether it is like your life partner or your sister or just a business partner that you get along with really well, you know, having somebody in it with you or even a team that you love working with, you want to be able to enjoy your everyday. Otherwise, what's the point? What are you doing it for?
Yeah, I agree.
Totally.
You need to have fun.
For sure. Speaking of having fun, so we've recently launched our How to Live Ex-Paired collab.
We sure
We
have.
have.
So much fun.
So we actually didn't write down any questions about this. And then I was like, oh, we should really talk about this.
We should.
Now Ed's wearing them, so I want to wear them too.
Okay, I'll wear mine as well.
Let's put them on.
We're all wearing them.
For
This
this
is like
chat.
our Power Rangers ring. No, what is it? Captain Planet rings. Where we all
Yeah.
wear them at
yeah.
once and
2
then
by 2.
our fashion powers combined. Pink marble.
Terracotta.
Milky Marble.
What am I? Black.
So we wanted to, we've loved sunglasses for a very long time and we've been massive fans of Paired. So maybe we can just like talk a little bit about like how the collab came about and like how freaking awesome it was to work with you guys on these amazing sunnies.
Well, Jess, I guess before. How did we even decide that we were going to collab?
I think it was last year.
Yeah, it just happens.
It was when you
The
guys
organic.
had done Client Liaison. And you launched that at Superglue, and then we were going into that black box straight after you, which we turned into a pink box. We had our pop-up there at Superglue Emporium, and that was when we started chatting about a collab. Is that right, Ed?
Correct. I think it was only a matter of time, really.
Yeah.
Totally. Like, I feel like
It was always on the cards.
But
since our
you were the
first-
one, I think then you were like, let's do
Let's
it.
do
Like,
it.
I think you were like super active in it. Like after you had done Client Liaison and like we just
Yes.
have, like, I feel like the four of us have a massive love affair. So it was like only a
Yeah.
matter of time before we got to work on something like in depth. Whereas before we had just kind of done like small promotion here and there.
Yeah, and you guys must just have like a seriously streamlined process of how you design sunglasses, because for us it was a really simple process of like coming up with a mood board, and then before we knew it, Sammy was like, "Oh, what do you think of these frames?" Like, and we were like, yes." Like,
Well, and I think also
You gave me a good brief though. I think if you give me a clear brief, I can kind of run with it.
do you know what? We're not the
love
best.
affair here?
We're not the best briefers though. We will admit,
We're
like,
not.
because we often we can give a vibe of what we like, but then like there's just like there's something we can't put into words. But again, I think it's because
But
our
it's my
styles
job.
are so
Yeah.
aligned.
Yeah, and I-
because you're really good at it. That
It's my job to interpret your vibe and then turn it into a product.
Well, and you also, oops, I'm leaving these on. You also, I think you pushed us as well. Like when we came to you, the idea was to have like a really crazy arm, which is what we've ended up with the fans. But then we were like, let's do something super basic for the shape. And just like, you know, we were a bit scared that people would be scared. And we were like, we want it to be really approachable, like just something super plain. And it was you actually that you were like, okay, cool. I'll give you a few plain, boring options, and then I'll give you a few like epic. Okay, like no, this is what you should actually do. Option, which is the shape that we've ended up with,
And also just like the little tiny details, you know, like the
the
nose
lens, the
bridge,
nose bridge,
and
yeah.
like so good.
yeah.
You're
I think
good.
you two are big personalities, so I didn't think that something classic and simple was the way to go.
Well,
We
They're
needed
very
something
good.
bold, but they're very wearable.
Well, that's the thing. They're very wearable
They're
and
super
they're
wearable.
classy. You class it up while making it out there, and that's like a balance that we find it's hard to strike when we're working with some designers. But
Yeah.
you nailed that.
And I remember Ed sitting there with, we were all in the first meeting, and you were just sitting there being like, timeline. And like the three of us were like, and this and that.
It's
And
so
like we were getting
pretty.
so
And
excited.
like, what about this color? Oh, look at this acetate. And you're like,
Yeah. And you were
Yeah.
just like, no, we got to do it right.
Well, that's, you know, I think we're going to we've launched within November, so I'm happy about that because there's nothing worse than a timeline that pushes out. Like from our side, like, again, you know, like we're so good at product and timelines are those things that, you know, you don't have the acetate or you don't order the lenses or the packaging's not ready. And then everyone's like, oh, it was so great, but it wouldn't have been greater if it was launched 2 weeks earlier. You know, we've definitely had those in our journey. And I think, you know, that's definitely now where it's like, okay, not disappointing your partners is such a huge part of the journey because product is product, but execution, you know, is what we're all here to do as well. So,
there's so many moving parts to get right, you know.
yeah.
Like just designs is the start of it, and then you would actually produce everything, market it. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, 10% of my job is probably actually sitting down and designing.
Yeah.
The rest is like follow up and making sure we get production on time and all these different elements coming from everywhere. It's such a, I think people think that I am designing all day, every day, but it's so rare for me to design, really. I get like 2 little windows a year.
Yeah. But I mean, they've turned out super well, so we're pumped.
Oh, we're
And I think,
obsessed.
I love them.
it's,
Yeah. I love them too.
you know, I like it as well because it's like, it's an e-com focus for your customers, for our customers. And I think you obviously build in a wholesale strategy through the journey. But I think like the beauty of like your platform, your social media, our social media is just such a fun way to get the product out. And the content is so cool. And I think, you know, these fans are something that we have never really done on the side. I know there was a lot of discussion of where they should be up or down
Yeah.
or whatever.
They
I
just
think
look
we nailed
sad
it. We nailed it.
down.
Yeah, I
up,
think we
up,
nailed
up.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
it's perfect.
We've had like multiple friends of ours hit us up trying to get their hands on the product. So that's super fun when it doesn't feel forced. And obviously when you first launch a product, when you just start a brand, it's like, how do we get product, you know, out to market and how do we get people excited is just such a challenge. So when you do something like this and there's immediate interest and demand, it's like very rewarding.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So we'll head straight into quick fires. So this is a fun question. Who owns more sunglasses? And if you know, how many?
We both own zero we
Yeah,
we give them away so much.
I keep
People are
my-
like, oh, I love those. I'm like, here, take them. I've got plenty more. And then I go back to the office. I'm like, actually, there aren't any more of these. And I just gave away my last pair.
I think you've done that to us before.
Yep.
You're just like, oh, you like these? Here you go, have them. Oh,
Yeah.
so you kind of like have more of like an Uber model of sunglasses where like you don't own any, you just constantly like.
I own zero.
I kind of wear one for a while, then I'll move. I'm quite loyal to this pair that I like, actually. I wear the same pair for ages. And usually I'm really gravitate towards light pair, like a white pair.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, it's weird.
So you're more of a Milky Marble kind
I
of
am
gal.
more of a Milky Marble kind of gal.
Well, those ones are looking great on you though. What is your favorite campaign that you've ever shot?
Ooh.
Morocco or LA?
I liked, my favorite I think is Capri.
You shot it in Capri?
Yeah, we weren't there, but we got it shot in Capri. I love
How
that
do you
one.
do that when you're not there?
Well, we have a really great photographer, Amberly, and she kind of does a package, and I like send everything off like in styled looks.
If you weren't running Paired, what would each of you be doing?
I have a small love affair with being a DJ, but I feel like I feel like that might be short-lived.
I feel like you look like a DJ right now with those sunglasses on.
I might wear them to my DJ gig today.
You should. You got to promote them out there.
Yeah.
I would be designing jewelry, or I also really love interiors. I've got a love affair of interior design. So something in design, though, I feel like that's
It was
my
a
path.
lot.
It's my
I see
journey.
that.
Yeah. Where am I? Oh, who reads a better bedtime story?
Me.
Oh, is this?
Samantha.
We're in agreement on this one.
I
thought we were
I
gonna
have
have
a
a fun.
I have great story time reading.
Well, you
voices.
have a really beautiful voice.
I'm famous.
Oh, I hate my
I'll probably fall
voice.
asleep.
Do
I
you?
hate listening to my voice.
This
Look,
whole time, anytime you talk, I'm like, there it is. It's just like really,
Really
beautiful,
loud.
really soothing,
Yeah, it's
sexy.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
got a
wow.
nice deepness
Nice.
to it. We bring people here to compliment them, really.
Okay, last one. Who is each of your celebrity hall pass?
you have to.
I'm famously in love with Julie Bishop. She's my favorite.
Wow.
What?
Is that your
I need
celebrity
more
hall pass?
info.
No, I just have a crush on her. I think she's so amazing, and I met her through my paired journey, and I think she's a phenomenal human being. So she's
Lock it in.
She's my pin-up girl.
You have a thing for strong women, don't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Sammy?
I mean, there's a few. Tall, dark, handsome. But I think my favorite one right now is Liam Hemsworth. We've just been in Byron.
Oh, well, he's single now.
I know.
so-
Watch out, EB.
I know he was
Liam, if you're
everywhere in
listening.
Byron. He's a real man of the
I'll
people.
send you some
Did
sunglasses.
you see him in Byron?
Like 4 of our friends, like he was picking up his friend at the Jetstar terminal at Ballina. He was getting
No,
coffee.
that was Chris Hemsworth.
Oh,
That's the older
even
brother.
bigger.
Chris Hemsworth's
Yeah.
more my style.
Well, I
I
think
really
that's-
know Liam for me.
I think that's why they live in Byron, though, is because, like, you know, you can kind of just like live life in Byron and no one bothers you. Like,
Yeah.
I was at Topshop picking up like an acai bowl, and I saw Chris's
Elsa.
wife, Elsa, like with her 2 kids. You know, like it's a chilled kind of place.
It's a real
Yeah.
hotspot right now.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
That's it from us.
Thanks,
That's
guys.
done.
We've loved doing
Thank
this.
you.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Super fun.
Love us in our paired collab as well. We'll have to get a good selfie.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
We shall.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks, girls.
Love
Bye.
you guys.